Sithokoze emakhosini amakhulu, emakhosini amahle, umakhosi Bhokwe Lona phambi kobuso benu. Kulesi sikhathi samanje senibingelela nonke siqala inyanga entsha. Unyaka usephansi-ke nokho. Ngithe-ke namhlanje ngixoxe-ke ngey'ndaba zothando, kodwa sizolujulela lolu daba ngoba sizoluzela ngamehlo kamoya. Silibuka ngendlela yokuthi-ke uma sesikhuluma ngomoya, uthando luhanjiswa kanjani? Luqondiswa kanjani noma luhlanganiswa kanjani? Yini eyenzekayo ngaphambi kokuba uzithole usutshela omunye umuntu ukuthi uyamuthanda? Kwazise-ke kade kuyinyanga yothando, lena ephelile sibuya kuyo. Kwakuhle kanjeyana nango-Valentine's Day, bajabulile abantu, bajabula odadewethu, bajabula abafowethu. Kwakuhle, kwamhlophe, kwanemfudumalo. Ake silijulele-ke manje lolu daba, silicwaninge, silidingide, silibuke nxazonke. Sikhulume ngokuthi-ke kusho ukuthini ukutshela umuntu ukuthi uyamthanda. Alright, so let's define the 6 types of love first. So the first type of love is eros. Eros is our stereotypical idea of what we call love. So it's an emotional and physical manifestation of the love that people idealize, is what we call relationship goals in nowadays. And then the second type of love is the ludus love. So ludus love is a love that involves you courting several people at the same time, sort of like your shows such as The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. So that is ludus love, where you use a process of elimination amongst a group of people or a sample of people to decide which person is best suited for you. And then this other type of love is called storge love. So storge love is a type of love that manifests itself as a friendship first. So first you become friends and you take time to get to know each other. It's a gradually growing type of love. It manifests itself over time. So by the time two people realize that they're in love, they've taken the time to get to know each other so well that their love is based and grown on the foundation of a friendship. And then the other type of love is called pragma. So pragmatic type of love is a love that involves the sapiosexual attraction. So people that are sapiosexual are people who are mentally stimulated or aroused by love. So first they need to fall in love with your mind before they can fall in love with the rest of you. So they are aroused mentally first before you can arouse them in any other way. So most of the time that love is built and made on decisions based on thoughts. So it's based on logic. They use their heads to make a decision as to whether they love someone or not. They don't listen to their heart. Okay. And then the other type of love is mania. Mania is the unhealthy type of love. It's obsessive, it's possessive, it's full of a lot of jealousy. You have a lot of emotional depressions and a lot of emotional highs. It's not stable. So it's like you're on an emotional roller coaster with someone. So either both of you are this way or one person is that way towards the other person. Okay, so that's manic love or mania. Then the last type of love is agape, which is altruistic love. It's divinely ordained and anointed. So that love manifests itself spiritually before it manifests itself physically. So it's the coming together of two souls who've known each other before, possibly in a past life, or two souls who take the time to get to know one another spiritually. So this type of love can easily be manifested by someone who has taken the decision and has decided that they now want to start a family. Either they're looking for a wife or a husband, and they already know exactly what type of person that they're looking for. So Then they take the time to pray for this person and to describe him to the T. And then this person is then brought or manifested into their life by the universe. And this is what we call agape love. It's unconditional. Okay, so those are the six types of love. So when we're talking about relationships and love, I want to just get into this one question that maybe some of you might have is it possible to be involved or to date someone who's spiritually inclined or someone who's a healer? For example, someone who's like myself. Yes, it's very possible. Whether you are gifted with healing or not, whether you're aware of it or not, all of that is irrelevant because people who are called to heal, mostly their ancestors, angels, and spirit guides will align them with someone who's just as spiritually anointed as they are. Doesn't matter whether that person has awakened or is yoked in terms of their spiritual journey or whether they are still going to start their journey. So it really doesn't matter because your love is already ordained spiritually. So it means that your spirit is aligned with someone else's spirit before your love manifests physically. So sometimes these people dream of one another before they actually meet one another, or when they meet as complete strangers, some of them will experience certain types of emotions or their bodies will react in a certain way because they're connecting with that person's energy or that person's aura, because that person is vibrating at a certain frequency which resonates with the frequency that you are currently vibrating at or have manifested in your life because you've been praying about love, you've been praying about describing the specific type of person that you want to come into your life, either as a wife or a husband, and you know that this is the person that you want to build a family with and you want to build a life with. Okay, so even if you are not spiritually inclined, in terms of whether you are going to heal people, so it doesn't really matter whether you're aware of it or not. As I've said, these things are already connected and decided in the spiritual realm. So by the time they manifest physically, it means that there's a lot of preparations that have gone into it before the two of you actually meet. Okay. So this now takes me to agape love, which is a love that I encourage all of us to strive for. It's altruistic, it is unconditional, and it's spiritually grown. So everything is based on spiritual alignment. Okay, so this means that you can fall in love with someone that you are not sexually attracted to, but as you spend more and more time with that person, as you get to know that person, little bit of storage love there, then you start to find them sexually attractive. So this is how a lot of arranged marriages also used to work as well, because you would be married off to someone that you don't know or someone that you've never dated, but you just know of their family, and then you be married, and then you need to start your life, you start a family together, and so on and so forth. So before you take the decision to have children, for example, then you take time to get to know one another, but you are already unified in terms of marriage. Okay, then we get what we call, nowadays we have situationships where people just have arrangements where they actually meet just for sex and nothing else. So that's how we have the development of fuck boys and fuck girls. Excuse my French, but that is the reality of it. In this day and age, there's a lot of that happening. So this is not something that we can define as love, as we call it a situationship. It's just a situation that two people have decided to enter together, and it's purely to satisfy their physical needs or to satisfy their lust, right? And then you get relationships where people are actually um, dating. They spend a lot of time together, they take time to get to know one another, but they've never been friends before. And these type of people can also grow into agape love, because the more time they spend with one another, the more they want to get to know of one another. So they actually put in the work to make the relationship work, right? So there's no type of love that is a perfect love, which is what we call the eros love. It's just an idea that we all have in our minds of what a relationship should look like or how it should be. It doesn't mean that if it doesn't have the resemblance of this type of love, then it doesn't disqualify the fact that you could very well be in love with someone, right? And then I want to address the issue of whether you can be in love with more than one person. Yes, of course, you can be in love with more than one person, but you need to make a choice between the people that you say that you are in love with, because in this lifetime you've got more than one soulmate. So every person might not have one soulmate. Soulmates can serve a season or they can serve a lifetime. So if they serve a season, it just means that they come into your life to serve a particular purpose. Maybe it's a karmic relationship, which means that that person has come into your life spiritually orchestrated to teach you a certain lesson. For example, you might get into manic love with someone who's very obsessive and possessive and very jealous, because your ancestors, angels, and spirit guides want to teach you to be able to let go of toxicity and let go of people who don't serve the purpose and serve the vision or the mission that you currently have. They don't have the same values as you. So a person might tick all the boxes on paper, but then when it's actually time for you to be physically involved with them, when I say physically involved, I mean here on earth, I'm not talking about sex, then it doesn't work out the way that you had imagined it would in your mind, or the way that you had wished for it to work out in your heart. Okay, so these types of love are very important for us to be aware of and for us to know, so that you can make a conscious decision to decide what type of love is it that you want to enter into if you're not already in love. If you are in love, then you can still take heed of this information, because then you have the choice to use this information to empower yourself in your relationship and your partner or your spouse, in terms of what direction are we moving in terms of this love. What are the things that we want to see manifest in our love? So what are we striving for? What is our vision? It's when you have conversations like, where do you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years? So let us be realistic with one another. There's no one person that stays the same. You can fall in love with someone this year, and then in 10 years time that person is completely different from the person that you fell in love with. But this does not disqualify the fact that this person loves you, or the fact that you love them back. It just means that that person has evolved as a person, so much like yourself. Because as we grow in life, we have choices and we have chances, and these chances present opportunities for change. So some people will actually take heed of those opportunities and they'll change themselves. Say, for example, you fell in love with someone who's very short tempered, and as time grows on in life and the universe teach them to become softer with themselves, first of all, and then to become softer with people around them, you might find that this person isn't so easily angered anymore as when they were when you first met them. This is just an example for you to be able to understand what it is that I'm trying to impart on you. So in our next episode, we'll be speaking about the 5 love languages, and we'll be getting into more in-depth conversation as to what are the 5 love languages, why is it important to know this information, how can you use it to your advantage to enhance your relationship in your love life. So in this series, we're not going to be limiting love to that of relationships, as in romantic relationships. We'll be extending love, even talking about love in the family, love in friendships, love towards your neighbor, and self-love, which is crucially important. If you don't love yourself, you won't be able to flourish in terms of expressing love towards other people in other areas of your life. Sithokoze makhosini amakhulu, makhosini amahle, makhosi ububesi lo khuluma nani lesikhathi samanje.
Kuthi lava kuye wakhanya ebudeni. Kuthi lava wakazimulo ngosomhlophe, ngasibona nami ngifanele ukungena.